Bitcoin is maintaining an aggressive bullish posture on the 4-hour chart. Even just today, the market attempted to dump, but we held the trend line. Bitcoin maintaining its momentum during the banking crisis. Yesterday, Bitcoin closed the highest daily candle since June of 2022. Looking at the weekly chart, this weekly candle is absolutely stunning. We are about 1 day away from the weekly candle close. When you look at Bitcoin's weekly chart, it's starting to look a lot like 2019, and this is something that we discussed on this channel. We made videos about how in 2019, Bitcoin retraced up to the 618 fib extension. And back then, that meant Bitcoin went from 3,100 to nearly 14,000. And this run was really just about half a year. It only took half a year for Bitcoin to make that epic move. And if you're looking at Bitcoin right now, if we were to map out where the 618 fib extension would come in, it would come in at about 48,500, which of course sounds completely absurd. And it sounded absurd when we talked about it a few weeks ago. But now that the market is playing out this wicked pump, it's starting to seem a little bit more realistic than it did before. And I know a lot of people are going to be talking about the resistance, 30,000. This zone, 28,000 to 30,000. Everyone's going to be, expecting some sort of rejection here in a pullback, which of course it's always possible. We've seen this before where Bitcoin will come up to a major resistance, such as that 6,000 level where everyone thought Bitcoin was going to find resistance and we ended up just going straight through it. Is it possible that Bitcoin is going to play out something similar once again, where we come up to our $30,000 resistance and just blow straight through it and head towards the 618 fib extension at 48,500? Well, I think it's actually quite possible. Bitcoin is actually starting to become parabolic, sort of like in 2019. The trend is actually going parabolic, guys. And Bitcoin has a very strong narrative with the banking failures. People are starting to look at Bitcoin as a viable alternative for storing their wealth. And this has allowed Bitcoin to decouple from traditional markets. We had a decoupling not very long ago during the FTX collapse, but that was a decoupling in the wrong direction to the downside because of the failures of the crypto industry. That was the last decoupling we saw right here, but it was only temporary and Bitcoin ended up snapping back into correlation with the S&P in this range. But since the banking debacle began, Bitcoin has had tremendous momentum, breaking away from traditional markets. How long will this decoupling last? Well, that remains to be seen. It really depends on how poorly the banking industry performs from here on out and how much uncertainty there is surrounding the banking industry and how many people decide to flip into Bitcoin. So it's kind of an unknown as to how long Bitcoin can remain decoupled. If you look at Bitcoin's weekly RSI, what we can see is that Bitcoin is still not in overbought territory. We are not yet overbought on the larger timescales. Bitcoin has more room to run. Just like in 2019, the run only ended when we actually entered overbought territory on the weekly RSI, and Bitcoin is still far from it. This means we could have multiple weeks towards the upside moving forward. And obviously everyone's going to be expecting resistance at 28.8 or 30,000, but something tells me that this may not be an actual resistance. And if we do actually break out above 28,800 or 30,000, the momentum that comes in is going to be extremely, extremely aggressive. And that's how prices like 48,500 become possible. When you break a resistance like that, the momentum picks up dramatically. It's less about the charts and it's more about the news and what's going on in the traditional markets. So it's very difficult to say exactly what Bitcoin's going to do. But I do think we have several more weeks of upside ahead of us, despite what may happen in the short term. I think ultimately we're going to be seeing a major breakout, probably above 30,000. At this point, the momentum is there. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe. And also be sure to follow me on Twitter. We have more epic meme videos being posted, and I'll see you guys in the next one.